You guys are the butter to my potatoes, the honey to my chicken nuggets, and the apes to AMC, my favorite company to be invested in right now for the mother of all short squeezes. But enough with the corny intros. Let's get into the meat and bones of this video, and that is going to be the margin call situation. As you guys do know, I've made multiple videos about the significance and the importance of NSCC 005 being such a big deal for margin calls, really giving investors like you and me a huge red flag that their accounts need more collateral for all of the risky positions they're in. But we're not really going to be talking about that. We may touch on it here and there, but we're going to be talking about how hedge funds that are short on AMC are more than likely getting ready to be margin called and seeing their margin maintenance levels going up a lot just over the past week. So let's break it all down for you guys. Very, very important video. So let's get into it. Drop that like on the video. Consider subscribing to the channel and hit me down below in the comment section. Let me know when you think margin calls are going to go into effect, because quite honestly, some people get mad at these margin call videos saying they're never going to be coming, but I think a lot of AMC investors are newer investors and don't exactly understand what is going on with margin maintenance and margin requirements and ultimately these margin calls. So let's get straight into it. And first and foremost, I just want to ask you guys really, if you've ever had a margin account that is maxed out on margin. That is similar to what the hedge funds and institutions have really been doing over the past year. They have been going full-fledged on margin. We see this reflected in the Fintel data, over double the margin that we did have during the crash of 2020. That was only about 18 months ago. So we know hedge funds and institutions are balls to the walls on margin. That is not a secret whatsoever. And when you are balls to the walls on margin, trust me, I have been fully maxed out on margin, 100% margin, and even just small moves with your portfolio will really influence your margin levels. And I have been margin called before just based off about a 5% portfolio drop, just because some assets are deemed a lot riskier than others and the brokers want more collateral. So if you are full-fledged on margin, like I said, balls to the walls, you're very prone to seeing margin calls. And I do think NSCC 005, we did see some level of margin calls. Typically, you see about 2 to 5 days to actually see those margin calls go into effect, because as we do know, NSCC 005 went into effect on Friday, September 3rd. So 5 trading days since Friday, September 3rd did put us at this last Friday. And we did see what happened, going up over 3%, really gapping up over our resistance level, which was at about $50 per share. And you guys already know the situation with NSCC 005, the margin calls that have been going out, and we have proven that time and time and again. Just take a look at what has happened since September 3rd. The proof is in the charts and the proof is in the price action with AMC stock. But let's really talk about what is currently going on. We know hedge funds and institutions, like I said, very over leveraged on margin, but there is a lot of other red flags that have been coming out, and a lot of these are older, right? We have seen a lot of banks that have liquidated total branches of their portfolios. Pretty much all major banks besides JP Morgan, they said they were going to do intraday margin calls. That was never verified. But all banks besides JP Morgan have called for corrections in the near-term future with the S&P 500 and the overall markets. And we are at this critical level where we are starting to reflect to the downside. We may be getting ready to approach these August 18th lows that we did see, about 4,400 on the S&P 500. But if we get down to about 4,000 on the S&P 500, that will be a 10% drop in the S&P 500. What that is going to do for hedge funds and institutions is rapidly bring up their margin maintenance levels. If the smaller guys, this really doesn't apply as much to the large guys like Citadel, those guys are really going to be the icing on the cake that really sends the short squeeze home. But mainly for the smaller guys that don't have millions or billions of dollars to put in their margin counts to stay in all of these positions, that is going to force them to cover. And this is the double-edged sword effect. And you guys really have to think about hedge funds and institutions portfolios. Some of these guys, they're going to have a lot of long positions, less short positions. Some of these guys are going to have more short positions, less long positions. But overall, you're going to see hedge funds with more long positions. So we have not seen a pullback or really a correction at all with the S&P 500 since the AMC movement has begun. So once that does happen, your long positions go down in value. No matter if AMC is flat, your long positions are going down in value. That is essentially your collateral to stay in your short positions. Or if you guys are familiar with margin, you guys can think about it as your margin maintenance just continues to go up as your portfolio is dropping. Once you get to those margin call levels, what is going to happen is hedge funds and institutions, they're going to liquidate their riskiest asset. And I think it is by far clear that AMC would be their riskiest position in their portfolios. And this is not just some theory I am pulling out of my ass that I have no idea what I'm talking about. We've seen this with the massive Volkswagen short squeeze that did happen on, let's pull this up, October 2008, in roughly about 4 days from start to finish. If we take it back to the S&P 500, I zoomed in right here. You can see the bottom of the market was October 2008 when the Volkswagen short squeeze happened. All of this collateral, and really collateral for that short position, was sucked out of the market. They didn't have a choice but to cover on their short position. So I'm not pulling that out of my ass. This has actually happened before and is likely to happen again. And this will be really what will set off the AMC short squeeze, in my personal opinion. But it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. The stock market should have crashed many times, in my opinion, in 2020, but it just never did. So we could trade sideways for all I know. I'm not a genie, but eventually we will come down. There's also a lot of interesting things that are happening around the world. We are seeing the European Central Bank slows its bond purchasing as inflation surges. So they have already started to taper on their bond purchases. That is exactly what the Fed is meeting about later in September, to discuss when they are going to start tapering. So this could cause some kind of market event, but all in all, you're going to see a little bit less liquidity going into the markets. Also, something else you guys should be made aware about is that two Fed board members, they were buying and selling a lot of stocks in 2020. They made a ton of money. They did not publicly disclose what stocks they were actually trading, but they did say 20 positions or more, a little bit over 20 positions, all had over $1 million in each position. And what is interesting about this, they are coming out and they are saying that they are selling all of their positions. And why is that so interesting? Because they're massively up on their positions. They bought into the markets in 2020, rode it all the way to the top. Now they want to sell out due to ethical concerns, but we are almost at all-time highs. We are looking at possibly the impending downside for the overall markets, and this is kind of a telltale thing that I am looking at, that the Fed is just trying to sell out to really avoid that correction that is going to be coming. So I think this is a huge red flag for what is going to be coming. We also were correct with NSAC 005 margin calls going out, and that is why I do think we gapped up over $48.50, which was a resistance level for quite a while. Gapped up past $50 resistance level as well, all the way up to about $52 on Friday. But what is very important, after we did move up past our $50 resistance level, we did not go under $50 throughout the rest of the day. We were really holding over $51 for most of the day, and that did look like it was going to be our support level, but we did break under that, but we touched right here, and then we only went under 50 for about 10 cents here in after hours. But there is a lack of liquidity in trading in after hours, so that doesn't really count in my opinions. But the proof is right here for the margin calls. Hopefully you guys have a better understanding what is actually going on. If you guys have a margin account that is 100% margin out, do not do that first and foremost, but you understand what I am talking about. When your collateral or your portfolio is going down in value, your margin maintenance is going up. That is what ultimately leads to margin calls. Once we do see AMC in the multi-$100 price points, that's when you're going to see Citadel and the big guys come in and be forcefully liquidated due to how risky AMC will be at that point. So drop that like on the video. That is all you guys need to know. Hit that comment section. Let me know what you think about these margin calls. Hopefully this did clear the air on some of the questions and concerns you guys do have about margin calls. This is a very real thing, and I do expect this to be coming in the near term future. Hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. Hit that notification bell as well if you guys want to be notified when these videos are uploaded. Check out the 4 links linked down below in the description if you guys want to be notified every time I make a trade. And right here was confirmation that AMC is going to be going through this whole situation that we've been talking about with the margin calls, with the gamma squeeze. So this was confirmation to me. I will be making a trade on this. If you guys want to be notified when I do make a trade on AMC, with options. Obviously, I have a lot of shares of AMC. Go ahead, check out the link in the description for the buy and sell alerts. We keep it very inexpensive. Also, links to get free stock. If you guys want to support the channel, get some free stocks for yourselves. It's basically free money. Check that out as well. But that is all I do have for this video. Stay tuned for follow-up videos about this topic, but also how to call the top on AMC, how to really go about an exit strategy of AMC, and much more to come throughout tonight and tomorrow. It's going to be very important next week. You guys just get ready. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will see you guys in the next video.